Hello and welcome to Talking Wild podcast where we talk about anything and everything. Today, I really just wanted to talk about so many crazy things. Um, I kind of just want to talk about the way I've been feeling, and not really necessarily the way that I've been feeling, but the way that I've been perceiving just media in general. I have been scrolling Instagram Reels for way too many hours at this point. It is 2 a.m. It's 2:05 a.m. And I've gotten to the point in the Instagram Reels where I'm getting videos about helping yourself and how you cannot help yourself, and how people will ask if things will be okay, and people explaining to them that it will be okay, but it's going to be different. And that even when your heart hurts, it just shows that you still have one, even if it feels so empty. And that whatever happens next is what you choose to happen. I'm sitting here now. I was about to cry because some of these are crazy. Like some of these are so incredibly raw. Like here, this is a quote from Instagram. It says, "When the gun jams and I go back to being a kid before my mom started to hate me." And that is something that resonates with me so deeply. Like I literally got chills from that because not only is that something that I relate to, not only on like a personal level, but just like on a deeper level. Like it, reading that made my bones hurt, if that makes sense. Just reading some of the things that I read or consuming some of the media that I consume makes me hurt on a bone level. It makes me realize that like all this noise that I use to distract me maybe just isn't noise at all. Maybe it's supposed to be some kind of message, or maybe it's supposed to give me a purpose in life. There's a man that I met this week. His name is Scott, and I don't know if I'll ever work with him again. He is a manager at this place that I work at, and I have never wanted to be somebody so badly. Not just because this man was a 49-year-old Italian man that works at an Italian restaurant, but because this man betters himself every year. He was telling me that every year he tries to do something to better himself and to help his family. And this year, the word impact kept coming to his head. This man is a very religious, like follows Jesus very closely, goes to church every Sunday with his two daughters and his stepson. And he was telling me how he felt like he needed to make an impact, and how him turning 50 this year and how he feels like he has never accomplished anything, or he's never made an impact, a big impact. Anyways, he's told me that like he's worked so many jobs and he feels like they're all meaningless because they never did anything to better anyone or to better the world. And this man told me that he put his faith in Jesus this year, and he said that he will follow Jesus or God or anything really to just to lead him somewhere, and that he'd follow that to the end. And he is looking at a job in this ministry where it just like helps people like sex trafficking victims and stuff, and how they're still working out the details, but he really hopes that he gets this job because he needs to support his family. But not only does he support his family, he has cut down his work week to 2 days a week to be there for his daughters to watch them grow up. I believe he said they were like 4 and 9 or something, roughly around that age, and how he knows that they're not going to be young forever, and that while they're young, they're still going to be close to him, and then they're going to leave him for a little bit, and then they'll come back. And it's just the way that he completely put his faith, not even his faith, just completely put his entire life first before any material possessions or any numbers in his bank account or where the comma or the decimal hits in his bank or anything. He told me that he drives a crappy old car to work, and he said as long as it's got 4 wheels and it works, he's like, that's all I need. And that is something I understand because I rode a bike to work forever. But he told me that he'd rather spend his money on gymnastics and sports for his daughters, even if they quit him 2 years in or half a season in, because he wants to give them that opportunity and he wants to be there to watch them grasp at this opportunity he's given them. And that is something that I find so respectable and so kind and just so livingly. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, oh, I want a man or a woman that's just like that, that puts me first no matter what, yada, yada, yada. No. Just being able to understand and recognize that those opportunities will never come again, and putting your entire, not really a career, just putting everything else on hold so you can seize the opportunity of your daughter's day-to-day life. Because you want to be there for them. That is insane to me. Not insane. That, like I said, that's just so respectable. Like, I came from a family where if my mom was too lazy to take me to practice, I was sick and couldn't go to practice. And just to see somebody completely put their entire life at pause to support his children is crazy to me. Like, that is such a loving and caring person. And this is somebody that I aspire to be now. I have never met this man a day before my life, and I worked a 8-hour shift with him. And my life is like, my thoughts on so many things has completely changed. But not only that, I want to tie back into the Instagram thing and the media thing. I'm pulling up more things. Just like people living, or like, I'm trying to find these. It's just all these things, like there's this one reel that says someone will still think of you not because of what you have, but because of how you made them feel. And I think that is very much the beauty of life right there. That is I just copied that quote from somebody. There's a YouTube channel who talks about those kind of things, or she talks about a metaphor about like a flower in the mud, in that in order for beauty to happen, you have to go through like mud and these experiences, the thickness, but the fact that like your kindness, like this man's daughters, for example, will remember all the times that he showed up for their dance recitals or their gymnastics or whatever sports that they're playing to support them. And that they're going to remember that feeling of being supported and that feeling of knowing their father loves them and that he has this undying, unwavering support and care for them. Like, they're going to remember that feeling more than they're going to remember the way he looked or his job, for example. And it's like the same goes for the opposite. Like, they would remember if he worked 80-hour weeks and never got to see him, or if he was an alcoholic and just drank and everything. And I think that is something that I'm trying to hit on in this very messy, uncoordinated episode, is that like the way you make somebody feel is much more important than the way that you look or the way that you present yourself or anything. Like, if you make somebody feel really shitty, they're gonna think of you as a shitty person or just a not good person, you know? But if you look like shit, you have shoes that are falling apart and everything, but you look at them and you show empathy and caring and respect and love, they're gonna remember you as that kind of person. And people, obviously, there are those people who judge off of materialistic looks and everything, but making that impact emotionally is very much more important than any kind of physical or any kind of mental image somebody has of somebody. Because if I went up to a stranger right now and I looked at them and I looked at them and I said, like, oh, like, you have a pimple on your nose, or like, not even that, just like, I treated them like they were less than me, then they're gonna think of me as a bad person. But if I go up to somebody and I'm like, hey, like, I respect you and I want to listen to your story and I will remember this little thing about you and I'll bring it up next time that we talk, then that person's gonna remember me as a nice person who remembers things about them, who cares and shows that empathy towards them. For example, there's a girl that I work with that I had talked to about getting a car. So I recently just bought a car, and I was telling her, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, my bank was giving me some troubles about it, and then it was taking like weeks to get this everything figured out with the bank and the insurance and everything. And excuse me, like I said, it is 2 a.m. So I'm tired. But the next time that I saw her, she's like, "Did you get the car?" And I was like, "I did. Like, I got the car, and I was really excited to talk about it because at this new workplace, like, I haven't found my people yet, and I haven't been comfortable enough just to bring up things that are happening in my daily life. And so, having somebody to care about me on that kind of level, even if it's like something simple like the car, like, it is something so simple, but it made me feel cared for. It made me feel like I almost belonged, if that makes sense. So, with that, my ranting about really just making that impression on somebody is coming to an end. It is 2:20 a.m. and I have to get up in like 4 hours. Not 4, like 6. For work the next day, but it is worth it to be able to speak my mind about people that I aspire to be, even if it's your average Joe Schmo who just really cares about a few things in his life and is willing to put everything else on pause about it. Anyways, thank you for tuning in um, with my messy rants. But yeah, thank you for listening, and I'm really hoping that I begin to become the person that I really want to become. And am I sure how to do that? No. But I want to try to make steps towards it. So, thank you for listening to this episode, and I hope to see you next time.